This story is titled, A Week Before Her Wedding. I caught my spoiled sister kissing my boyfriend. Hi, everyone. Before we dive, a quick favor. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It is free, supports the channel, and make sure you never miss out on amazing video. Alright, let us get started. I caught my spoiled sister kissing my boyfriend a week before her wedding. I told her fiancé. He seemed to ignore it. But then, at the wedding, he shocked everyone. I'm 28, and my sister is 26. My boyfriend at the time was 29. As her wedding approached, I started noticing something off, something that made me uneasy. At first, it was subtle. My sister's behavior around my boyfriend just felt weird. She'd laugh a little too hard at his jokes, even when they weren't funny. She'd toss out compliments like, "Wow, you're so funny," with this overly enthusiastic smile that didn't feel natural. I brushed it off at first, telling myself maybe she was just caught up in wedding excitement and being overly friendly. But the more I watched, the more I realized it wasn't just me being paranoid. She started finding little excuses to touch him. A hand on his arm here, a bump of the shoulder there. Harmless if it happened once, but it didn't. Her glances lingered too long when he wasn't looking, and every time she was near him, I felt a knot twist tighter in my stomach. After a particularly awkward family dinner where her behavior had been especially flirty, I brought it up to my boyfriend. "Did you notice how Sarah was acting tonight?" I asked. He looked at me, confused. "What do you mean?" I explained the laughing, the unnecessary touching, the looks. He listened for a minute, then shrugged. "I think you're overthinking it. She's just excited about the wedding. It's harmless." But it didn't feel harmless to me. Not at all. Still, I wanted to believe him. So I decided to stay quiet and keep my eyes open, hoping I was just being overprotective. But the next few weeks were tense. Every time we were all together, I found myself on high alert. Sarah kept gravitating toward him. She'd sit beside him any chance she got, and suddenly needed his help with everything wedding-related, even when I was right there. Then came the barbecue. We were all at my parents' house. At one point, I went inside to use the bathroom. When I came back out, I saw them, Sarah and my boyfriend, talking in a corner of the yard. Close. Too close. She was giggling, playing with her hair, leaning in like they were sharing secrets. The moment they noticed me, they jumped apart. Sarah walked off without a word. I felt sick. I didn't confront them right then. I didn't want to cause a scene. But that night, I asked my boyfriend what they had been talking about. "Just wedding stuff," he said, shrugging. "The music list or something." "Why did you need to stand so close for that?" He sighed. "You're reading too much into this." That was the last straw. I told him flat out. My sister was clearly flirting with him, and he wasn't doing anything to stop it. He looked hurt. "What do you expect me to do?" "She's your sister." I was just being polite. "Set some boundaries," I said. "Let her know you're not interested." But he doubled down, insisting there was nothing to clarify because he wasn't interested, and I was just seeing things that weren't there. It turned into a circular argument, me asking him to acknowledge what was happening, him telling me I was imagining it. We went to bed angry, and nothing was resolved. The next morning, I knew what I had to do. I called my sister and asked if she wanted to grab coffee. She agreed instantly, sounding cheerful and upbeat, like she had no idea what was going on. We met at a little cafe near her apartment. She launched straight into wedding talk, all smiles and excitement, completely oblivious to how uncomfortable I was. My hands were trembling as I stirred my coffee. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I interrupted her mid-sentence. "We need to talk," I said. She blinked. "About what?" I took a deep breath and told her. I said I'd noticed how she'd been acting around Tom, and that it made me uncomfortable. I listed everything: the flirting, the touching, the lingering glances. I told her it had to stop. As I confronted her, I watched Sarah's face shift through a rapid series of emotions, first surprise, then confusion, and finally, anger. She snapped back, demanding to know what I was talking about. She vehemently denied ever flirting with Tom, insisting she was just being friendly. But I didn't back down. I calmly told her that whether she realized it or not, her actions were inappropriate, and they were causing me serious distress. That's when she laughed. Not a genuine laugh, either. It was sharp and dismissive. "You're being ridiculous," she said. "Tom is practically family. I'm just being nice." Her words did nothing to ease the tension. If anything, they made it worse. I could tell I had hit a nerve. I tried to stay composed as I explained that it wasn't just friendliness. She was always looking for excuses to be near him, to touch him, to laugh too hard at things that weren't even funny. I told her that from where I stood, it was obvious what she was doing, and it was making me deeply uncomfortable. That's when her expression changed again. Her face flushed red with a mix of anger and disbelief. "Wow," she said, her voice cutting. "So you really think I'm trying to steal your boyfriend? Is your self-esteem really that low?" The words stung, but I stood my ground. "It's not about insecurity," I said. "It's about respect. And right now, you're crossing a line that shouldn't be crossed." Suddenly, she pushed her chair back with a loud scrape and stood up. "I'm not going to sit here and listen to this paranoid crap," she snapped. "If you can't even trust your own sister, that's your problem, not mine." With that, she turned and stormed out of the cafe, leaving me alone, stunned, and swimming in doubt. I sat there for a long time, questioning everything. Had I gone too far? Was I just being paranoid? The guilt and second-guessing hit hard. When I got home, Tom immediately saw something was wrong. He asked what happened, and I told him everything. Our talk at the cafe, her reaction, my side of things. As I talked, I could see the concern spreading across his face. When I finished, he sighed heavily. "I think you made a mistake," he said gently. That hit hard. "So you're taking her side now?" "No," he said quickly. "I'm not taking sides. I just think, maybe you overreacted. I honestly don't think she was flirting with me. And even if she was, going after her like that wasn't the best way to handle it." His words only added to my confusion and hurt. "So what was I supposed to do? Just ignore it?" I asked, my voice cracking. He came over, wrapped his arms around me, and said I should have come to him again, talked it out more, or maybe approached Sarah in a different way. He was worried that now the damage was done, and it was going to cast a shadow over everything. Over her wedding. Over our relationship with her. Over the entire family. I pulled away. "So this is all my fault." He paused, searching for the right words. "I'm not saying that. I just think, maybe you let your emotions take over." We argued a bit more, but it was clear we weren't going to agree. We were seeing things from completely different perspectives, and neither of us could bridge the gap. Eventually, he went to bed. I stayed up, feeling lost. The days that followed were tense and heavy. Sarah stopped speaking to me entirely. The silence between us felt like a canyon. When my parents noticed her mood, they called to ask what was going on. I tried to explain, but it was obvious. They thought I had overreacted too. And with the wedding fast approaching, I didn't know what to do. I was supposed to be a bridesmaid, but that role now felt like a burden. I didn't even know if Sarah still wanted me there. Tom, of course, was still invited. He thought we should both go, to show we weren't holding a grudge. But the idea of standing there, watching my sister walk down the aisle, knowing she was furious with me, it made me feel physically sick. I tried to reach out. I called her, but she never answered. I left voicemails, apologizing, asking to talk. Nothing. I even went to her apartment. She opened the door, looked at me, and then slammed it shut. My anxiety grew with each passing day. I started having nightmares. In one, I showed up at the wedding and everyone turned to stare at me, pointing, whispering. I woke up shivering. After our conversation, things went from bad to worse. Sarah told our mom everything, and my mother was furious. After my confrontation with Sarah, things didn't just stay tense, they exploded. My mom called me, screaming over the phone. She was furious that, with Sarah's wedding so close, I could be so selfish and paranoid. Her words cut deep. How could you accuse your own sister of something like that? I tried to explain my side, but she wouldn't hear it. Instead, she demanded I fix things immediately and apologize to Sarah. Now, not only was my sister avoiding me, but my parents were offended too. Tom, my boyfriend, kept insisting I was imagining things. It all just pushed me deeper into a mix of depression and confusion. 1 week before the wedding, I decided to go to my parents' house to try and patch things up. I was nervous, but determined. As I approached the house, I heard quiet voices coming from the side yard. Curious, I walked toward the garden, and what I saw stopped me cold. There, partially hidden behind a large plant, were Sarah and Tom. They were locked in an intimate embrace, kissing passionately. Her legs were wrapped around his waist, and his hand was beneath her top. They were so consumed by each other they didn't even notice me standing there. For a moment, it felt like all the air was sucked out of my lungs. I was paralyzed, unable to move or speak. Then rage kicked in. "What the hell is this?" I screamed, my voice cracking from emotion. They both jolted in shock. Sarah's face went pale. Tom stumbled for words. "It's not what it looks like," he stammered. But it was exactly what it looked like. Tears streamed down my face as I asked, "How could you?" "My own sister and boyfriend?" Sarah began to cry, her voice trembling as she tried to apologize. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "We didn't mean for this to happen." I couldn't stand to hear it. I turned and ran. Their voices called after me, but I didn't stop. I drove away, my chest tight, my thoughts racing. My phone rang constantly: Tom, Sarah, then my mom. I ignored them all. When I got home, I packed a bag with essentials and left. Before I turned off my phone, I sent Tom one final message. We're done. Don't try to contact me again. Now, I'm writing this from a hotel room in a nearby city, unsure what my next steps are. Sarah's wedding is days away, and there's no way I can attend. My relationship is in pieces, and the bond one had with my sister? Possibly destroyed forever. Everyone made me feel crazy for trusting my instincts, but I was right all along. The pain of that realization is crushing. I don't know how I'll ever trust again. After a few days of silence and heartbreak, I knew there was one person who absolutely deserved to know the truth. Mark, Sarah's fiancé. It wasn't easy, but I called him. He sounded confused. What's going on? Sarah said you just disappeared. I took a deep breath and told him everything. How I'd had my suspicions. How everyone dismissed me. How I caught Sarah and Tom, his fiancé, and my boyfriend, in my parents' garden, making out like teenagers. Mark listened quietly, only letting out the occasional sigh or grunt. When I finally finished, he paused. Then, in a calm, measured voice, he said, "Thank you for telling me. I need some time." He hung up. I didn't hear from him again after that. I figured maybe Sarah had convinced him to stay. That maybe she'd once again walked away without consequence while my entire life had been blown apart. The day of the wedding, I stayed away. I couldn't bear the thought of watching her in a white dress, knowing what she'd done. That evening, I got a call from my cousin Emma. Her voice was trembling with excitement. You won't believe what just happened. Apparently, everything at the wedding had seemed perfect at first. Sarah looked beautiful. The venue was stunning. Mark stood at the altar, calm and composed. But when it came time to exchange vows, Mark stepped forward. He looked out at the crowd and said, "I can't go through with this." Then he turned to Sarah and, in front of everyone, said he could not marry someone who would betray her own sister by hooking up with her boyfriend. Emma said Sarah turned ghost white. The room went completely silent. Then Mark turned to my parents. He apologized to them and told them they deserved to know why I had distanced myself from the family. Sarah broke down in tears. My parents were stunned. The guests started whispering, trying to process what was happening. Then Mark walked out, leaving Sarah crying at the altar. Emma told me it was like a movie. Everyone's still in shock. Your parents are trying to get the full story from Sarah, but she's hysterical. As I listened, I didn't know what to feel. Relief? Sadness? Vindication? I told Emma I didn't want it to end like this. I know, she said gently. After we hung up, I sat in silence. Yes, the truth had come out, but it came at a huge cost. My sister? Gone. Tom? Gone. My family? Shaken. There's a long road ahead. But for the first time in weeks, I felt lighter. The truth was no longer weighing me down. I don't know what comes next. I know I'll eventually have to face my family. But right now, I'm just taking it day by day. If this entire nightmare taught me anything, it's this. Trust your gut. Even when people tell you you're crazy. Even when they gaslight you into silence. Thank you to everyone who supported me. Your words meant more than you know. And to anyone else going through something similar, believe in yourself. You're not wrong for seeing what others refuse to acknowledge. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and ring the bell for more real-life stories that are hard to believe, but true.